All right, get ready to dive into a world of magic, fairies, and a whole lot of drama. We're taking on A Court of Wings and Ruin, the third book in Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Thorns and Roses series.
Oh, this one is a wild ride.
You guys are here because you want to get the rundown on this epic fantasy, right? Before you jump into the series.
We're here to guide you through it.
Exactly. Without spoiling the good stuff, of course.
Definitely.
So, picture this. A world called Prithian, where humans and fairies coexist, but it's not exactly a peaceful situation.
Not at all. It's a total powder keg, ready to explode.
We're talking a full-blown war brewing between the fairies and this brutal king, Hybern.
And right in the thick of it all is Fair, our protagonist.
Yeah, she's not just caught in the crossfire, is she?
Nope. She's undercover, pretending to be under the control of her former lover, Tamlin, in the Spring Court.
Whoa, wait a minute, undercover.
Yep. She's on a secret mission to gather intel on Hybern and sabotage his plans from the inside.
Okay, so she's basically a spy in enemy territory.
You got it. It's super high stakes.
And we know she's loyal to Rysand and the Night Court.
Oh, absolutely.
So how does she manage all that?
Yeah.
Being undercover and loyal to the Night Court at the same time.
Well, that's what makes Fair so fascinating. She's walking this tightrope, balancing her loyalties while trying to prevent a war.
And it gets real, right? I mean, that scene where she comes across a battlefield full of fallen Illyrian warriors, that's intense.
Yeah, it's brutal. It shows just how dangerous this war really is.
These are the most elite warriors, and they're just gone.
It sets the stage for the battles to come and the heavy losses that everyone will face.
It's like, okay, this is serious business.
Absolutely.
But she's got her sisters, Nesta and Elaine, right, for support.
Well, support might be a strong word. Their relationship is complicated, to say the least.
Oh, yeah, they all got thrown into this fairy world pretty suddenly.
Exactly. Nesta, she's the oldest and super independent. She's basically resisting everything fairy.
Like she's building up walls.
And then there's Elaine, the youngest. She's dealing with some major trauma and has completely withdrawn.
So they're each coping in their own way, but not really a united front.
Pretty much.
Okay, so where does Lucian fit into all this?
He's stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Right. He's Tamlin's emissary, but also Fair's friend. And what about Elaine, his mate?
Yeah, it's a tough spot for him. He cares about Fair, but is bound to Tamlin. And then there's Elaine, who's barely there emotionally.
You can feel the tension.
Big time.
And then we have this Jurian character, the resurrected human commander, who seems to be on Hybern's side.
Ah, Jurian.
Something tells me he's not what he seems.
You're picking up on something there. He's definitely a wild card. You never really know whose side he's on.
Ooh, I love a good mystery.
Oh, there's plenty of that to come.
But back to Fair, she's not just sitting back and watching, is she?
Not at all. She's actively working against Hybern. Remember when she exposes the High Priestess Ianthe's role in that Naga attack?
Oh yeah, that was a power move.
It was. Fair used her smarts and her understanding of fairy politics to expose Ianthe's true nature.
And Ianthe's power hungry.
Right. Oh, for sure. Fair just showed everyone she's not someone to be underestimated.
So she's gathering information, exposing the truth, and shifting the balance of power.
Exactly. She's playing the game.
But let's talk about Hybern. How serious is this threat? Really?
He's not messing around. He's built up a massive army, even got alliances with those human queens, bringing their own forces to the table.
Like a full-scale invasion is about to happen.
It is. And don't forget about Forbane, that substance that nullifies a fairy's powers.
Oh yeah, that's terrifying. He's weaponized it, right?
He has, and it levels the playing field, making things even more dangerous for the fairies.
It's like suddenly no one's safe.
Right. And then there's that horrifying scene where they find the mutilated bodies of the Golden Queen and other prisoners.
Yeah, that was chilling.
It shows just how brutal Hybern really is.
He's willing to do anything to get what he wants.
That's what makes him so terrifying.
So it's not just war, it's a reign of terror.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, and I'm hooked.
Just wait, it gets even more intense.
I'm ready for it.
Buckle up. Things are about to get really wild.
Well, we're going to take a quick break and come back with more of this deep dive into A Court of Wings and Ruin.
Welcome back to our deep dive into A Court of Wings and Ruin.
Things were getting pretty intense at the end of the last part.
Oh yeah, the wall's coming down, Hybern's army's on the move.
So Fair's got the Night Court on her side.
Yeah, they're a force to be reckoned with.
We've met Rysand, their leader, but let's talk about his inner circle.
Cassian, Azrael, and more.
They're like the ultimate squad goals.
They are, each one with unique skills and completely loyal to Rysand.
And to Fair,
Absolutely. They're like a family, bound by their experiences and their love for Valaris.
their hidden city, right?
Exactly. It's their sanctuary, their safe haven.
So who are these characters individually? What makes them so awesome?
Well, Cassian is like the strong and steady one, always ready for a good fight, but also with a big heart.
Yeah, he's definitely got that warrior spirit.
Then you've got Azriel, the master spy.
Always lurking in the shadows.
Super powerful, but also very guarded.
Makes sense for a spy.
And then there's Mor, the strategist.
She always has a plan.
Super fierce and independent, always thinking a few steps ahead.
So they each bring something different to the table.
They do, and their dynamic as a group is what makes them so strong.
And don't forget about that scene where Cassian and Rysand teach Lucian to fly.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
It showed their bond, their willingness to be vulnerable with each other.
Right, and to help each other grow.
It's like they're each other's wings.
That's a great way to put
They
it,
need that unity and trust.
especially with what's coming next. The meeting of the High Lords.
Oh yeah, that's right.
No.
All these powerful fairy rulers in one room,
It's like a powder keg ready to explode.
each with their own agenda, their own grudges.
Definitely a lot of tension there.
So we've got Rysand, but who are the other High Lords?
Well, there's Helion, the High Lord of the Day Court.
He's got that charm, right? Always flirting.
He does. And then there's Thiessen, High Lord of the Autumn Court.
Cunning, always scheming.
Definitely the most strategic of the bunch.
Then we got Kallias, High Lord of the Winter Court.
He's all about duty and honor, a very serious leader.
And then there's Biron.
Oh, Baron, Lucian's father, the High Lord of the Spring Court.
He's the worst of them all.
You could say that, a real tyrant,
So this meeting's going to be interesting.
to say the least.
And in the middle of all this, we get a big reveal about Mor's past.
Right, that bombshell about her being forced into a betrothal with Eris, one of Baron's sons.
Explains why she's so guarded.
It does. It's a pretty traumatic experience.
And speaking of bombshells, what about the Bone Carver?
Ah, the Bone Carver, he's a whole other story.
Super creepy, right? And his connection to Nesta is really intriguing.
It is. He seems fixated on her for some reason.
Like he sees something in her that no one else does.
Exactly. And their interactions are so unsettling.
And remember that bargain Fair makes with him.
Oh yeah, she offers him her firstborn child in exchange for the Ouroboros.
It's a lot to give up.
It is, and it raises a lot of questions about how far Fair's willing to go to protect those she loves.
It's a moral dilemma.
Definitely.
So we've got the High Lords, the Bone Carver lurking in the shadows.
And a war that's about to erupt.
It's all coming to a head.
It is. But in the midst of all this chaos, Fair's sisters start to step up.
Wait, really? Nesta and Elaine?
Yeah, they're not just damsels in distress anymore.
So they're finally embracing their power.
They are. Nesta starts training with Amren, learning how to harness her own strength.
I love that. What about Elaine?
Remember how she's been drawn to the cauldron?
Yeah, that's been weird.
Well, it turns out she has this ability to sense things about it, things that no one else can see.
So she's like a secret weapon.
She is, and her abilities become super important as the war progresses.
I'm on the edge of my seat. What happens next?
Well, remember that scene where Fair and Nesta are trapped in the tunnels beneath the House of Wind?
Oh, yeah, with those creepy creatures.
It looks like they're done for.
And then who shows up?
The Bone Carver.
Really? He saves them.
He does, and let me tell you, he doesn't hold back.
So he's a protector.
In a way, but also very dangerous.
And he leaves Fair with a permanent reminder of their bargain.
That black band around her arm,
It's like a symbol of their connection.
and the price she might have to pay.
Okay, that's intense. The tension just keeps building.
And it's about to reach its peak.
Because the final showdown with Hybern is coming.
It is. Get ready for the epic conclusion to our deep dive into A Court of Wings and Ruin.
All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into A Court of Wings and Ruin.
And things are about to get real.
No kidding. We've got this epic showdown brewing with Hybern.
The fate of Crithian hangs in the balance.
But before we get to the battle, we have to talk about that heart-wrenching moment when Fair's human village is destroyed.
Oh, that scene was brutal.
It really brings home the personal stakes of this war for Fair.
It's not just about protecting the fairy world anymore. It's about her past, her human life.
Everything she left behind.
And it shows just how far Hybern is willing to go.
To hurt her, to hurt everyone.
He's not messing around.
But Fair has to push past that grief. She's got a war to win.
And a bargain to fulfill.
Right. She has to go get that Ouroboros from the Bone Carver.
And that meeting in the depths of the prison is intense.
The prison. What's that?
It's this terrifying place deep underground filled with ancient magic.
Sounds creepy.
Oh, it is. Even powerful fairies are afraid of it.
So Fair's really putting herself out there.
She is, and remember the bone carver's obsession with Nesta?
Yeah, that adds another layer of weirdness to the whole thing.
It does, and to make things even more interesting, we're introduced to another ancient being imprisoned there, Bryaxis.
Wait, there's someone else down there.
Yep. And it makes you realize that the bone carver isn't as all-powerful as he seems.
There are forces out there that even he fears.
And there are hints of a deeper connection between him and Bryaxis, like some shared history.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued.
But let's get back to the war. The High Lords are ready to face Hybern.
The battle scenes in this book are epic.
Sarah J. Maas doesn't hold back. She really brings the chaos and magic to life.
And even with all the High Lords united, they're still facing some serious odds.
Hybern has a massive army, Febane, and that creepy cauldron.
It's like he's got all the cards.
But the Night Court is ready to fight.
They're not backing down.
Cassian's leading the charge, Azriel's using his shadows, more strategizing.
And Fair's using her shape-shifting abilities to confuse the enemy.
She's a force to be reckoned with.
But it's not just about strategy, there's so much emotion too.
Fair's struggling with the horrors of war, the fear of losing everyone.
And the pressure of being High Lady.
It's a lot to carry.
And Elaine, she really steps up during the battle.
Yeah, she embraces her connection to the cauldron and uses it to protect her sisters.
She's not so quiet anymore.
Not at all. She's found her strength.
But there are losses. We see good people fall.
It's a reminder of the cost of war, even when you win.
It's bittersweet.
It is.
But then there's Jurian. Turns out he wasn't on Hybern's side after all.
Yeah, he was undercover the whole time.
Talk about a plot twist.
It makes you question everything you thought you knew.
And then there's the arrival of Miriam and Draken, the rulers of that island kingdom.
With their army, they're a much-needed reinforcement,
It's like a beacon of hope.
showing that Fair's not alone in this fight.
All right, let's talk about that final showdown between Rysand and Hybern.
Oh, that's a nail-biter.
The tension is off the charts.
Hybern's been drawing power from the cauldron. He's practically invincible.
It's a desperate fight for Rysand.
He's pushing himself to the limit, risking everything to protect Fair and his people.
It's heartbreaking to watch.
But then Cassian comes up with a plan to draw Hybern away from the cauldron.
So Fair, Nesta, and Elaine can attack.
It's a risky move, but it's their only chance.
And the Ardron sisters, they don't hesitate.
They work together, using their powers to outsmart Hybern.
It's a true team effort
They buy Rysand some time, but they still have to destroy the cauldron.
before it falls into the wrong hands.
That confrontation is intense. It's like fighting a force of nature.
And Nesta almost gets consumed by it.
It's a reminder of the seductive power of the cauldron.
How it can corrupt even the best of intentions.
But in the end, it's Elaine who destroys it.
With the sword, truth teller.
It's a symbolic moment, showing her growth and her power.
It gives me chills just thinking about it.
But victory comes at a price.
Hybern destroys the cauldron in a final act of defiance.
Unleashing a wave of energy that threatens to destroy Prythian.
It's a devastating loss.
But Amryn sacrifices herself to contain the cauldron's power.
Talk about a hero.
She saves everyone, but it's a heartbreaking moment.
It really is.
So, A Court of Wings and Ruin is a story about love, family, and sacrifice.
It's about fighting for what you believe in, even when the odds are stacked against you.
And it's about finding hope in the darkest of times.
I think that's what makes this book so powerful.
It reminds us that even ordinary people can do extraordinary things.
And that love can conquer even the greatest evil.
Well said. And that wraps up our deep dive into A Court of Wings and Ruin.
We hope you enjoyed this journey through Prythian.
And we encourage you to keep exploring this world and its characters.
There's so much more to discover.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.